Welcome to the Best Damn Podcast. This is your host, Jill Lagan, CEO of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. In each episode, we will highlight what makes Boulder City, home of the Hoover Dam, the ideal place to operate your small business, explore world-class tourism attractions, and discover why we are the perfect place to live and unwind. Oh, I'm so excited for our listeners to be able to get to know somebody that I think is just marvelous. She's an amazing lady. I have had so much fun getting to know her, and I want you all to know her as well. Miss Heather Sabatello, she is with Edward Jones. She's a financial advisor and has become quite a friend of the Boulder City Chamber. And so this is such a lovely opportunity. Thank you for being here, Heather.
Thank you for having me.
So, Heather, you have a big role to play, right? So for you to be a financial advisor, a wealth manager that advises people on what to do with their money and secures their future, that's got to be absolutely inspiring. And I'm imagining how good that makes you feel.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could not have picked a better career for the second career in my life, but I just zero regrets. This is just so rewarding, and I love every single day.
I can imagine, and I can imagine making people's lives better. I would imagine, too, there's some days that you're like, the market did not quite go where we all wanted it. And
Sure.
So that can be a little nerve-wracking, but I would imagine just the average, most of us that are invested with you, the average that we're looking at across the year, we're looking at those numbers year end. It's scary to watch it day by day. So I'm so glad that we have somebody that pays attention to these things for us. That's your job. I don't want it. And so glad that you are there. Can you tell us a little bit more about what all does Edward Jones offer? There's so many different products.
Yeah. So really, it's my job to help grow, protect, and really help clients organize their wealth, right? So it's helping people not only prepare for retirement, but really live their dreams in retirement, right? It's about a full financial picture and reaching goals and really building generational wealth too, and focusing on estate planning and legacy and insurance and anything that has to do with financial goals. And it's so rewarding seeing my clients reach those goals and then being able to transfer that to the next generation.
I can imagine, and I am grateful for that assurance. And there's just something to be said about knowing that things are taken care of and that you're leaving the next generation in a good way,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
We all want to make sure that our kids have it better than we do. So
Absolutely.
such a great thing. So how small is too small to be? We talk wealth and people are like, oh, that's not me. But
Sure.
how small is too small? And I would imagine, because I know mine is a small investment. So how do you normally gauge that? And how do we encourage everybody to start somewhere?
Yeah, so it's funny. I have a 25-year-old son who doesn't listen to a word I say when it comes to finances. Although I'm a financial advisor, I'm still mom. But if I can reach out, I think it's such a miss in schools that we don't teach this earlier on. I can't ever remember taking a class in junior high or high school about what a 401k is,
Right.
or how we even budget ourselves.
Right.
Or my mother sat me down when I think I was 12 years old and helped me budget a checkbook the old school way. And I still use a check register sometimes just because it's stuck in my head. But I really stress with our younger generations, the minute you have a job at 16 years old, start putting a little bit of money away into a Roth IRA. That's tax-free growth until you retire. That's huge. And there's nothing else like it out there. So the minute you start making an income is when you should start investing.
I love that concept. And I think you are right. We talk so much about retirement, plan for retirement. And so you almost visualize only individuals who are of retirement age that are actually dealing with Edward Jones, right?
Yeah.
I think it's very smart and a wise statement that why are we not doing this in schools? Why are we not partnering with advisors to come into the schools and talk to them about how simple this is? Fees, I think in many cases scare people, but I have noted that it's not a major issue for me in my small investment. I'm very grateful for having somebody that's monitoring it for me for that small fee.
Absolutely. It's really important to have those fiduciaries keeping an eye on things. And as you mentioned before, there's a lot of scuttle and static out there. And it's really important to have somebody with a cool head that can talk you through and get through all that clutter, because there's a lot of that in this world right now. And just being able to have somebody that can explain without hearing all the negative out there, and that just sticking with a strategy makes all the difference in the world.
So when Wendell was the only Edward Jones in Boulder City, Wendell Whitman, just love him, he advised my husband and I not to make an investment. And we're like, no, this is going to be a good thing. We really want to do it. Oh, dang, was I ever mad at myself for not listening to this very wise man. And going back to that concept, is that a tough one for you you're trying to advise, much like your son, right? Yeah. You're trying to advise, and yet we're not listening. And so how do you overcome those kinds of situations?
Sometimes not every client is right for an advisor. Not every advisor is right for a client, right? It's about finding that right fit of somebody who will take your advice, right? That will work together with you. It's very much a partnership. It's not me telling my clients exactly what to do. It's still ultimately your money.
Right.
It's about working together to make sure we reach very important goals for you. And once clients understand that that's my end goal is for them to reach their end goal, then it really becomes a beautiful partnership.
I love that. And so is there a fee to come in and meet with you that first time and get to know each other and see if it is a good fit?
Absolutely not. No, everything, the minute somebody gives us a call and has questions or isn't sure where to even begin, which is usually how it goes with us, they come in, no, there's absolutely no charge for consultations, nothing to sit down and have a conversation. I will let you know right away if I can help you or I can't help you, if it's the right fit. And then we go from there, because there's a lot of different ways to pay for advice with a financial advisor. So it just depends on what works for the client.
I love that. Okay, so I made it in the front door. Yeah. We've had our first meeting. I feel comfortable. And now it's time to do what? Do I bring in my gobs of cash and silver and gold and set it on your desk? Walk me through this process so people who have not been part of any kind of a program like this, they understand what they need to do.
Yeah. So really it starts with a conversation. What is it that you're looking for? Are you looking to get a second look on your current investments? Have you never invested before? Whatever that looks like, whatever statements you have, usually you come and you bring those initial statements or concerns with me. And before I look at any numbers, before I look at any money, I want to know you as a person. I want to know who your family is, what your goals are, what issues and trials you've had in the past when it comes to finances and money. A big part of what we do is psychological, because so many people have been stuck in this negative relationship with money, right? And a lot of that comes from us being raised as children, watching our parents just stress over the bills sitting at the dining room table. And that's what we're built to be, afraid of money. And I don't want that to be the case, right? So it's really just about initially taking a look, understanding, listening what you need. And then from there, we build a plan together if it looks like it's going to be a good fit, whatever that plan is based on that individual's goals.
Very good. And you can make arrangements for them to have a monthly allotment coming out of whatever their funding mechanism is, and you handle all of that. It's a digital process. Nobody has to be scared. They don't have to bring a check into you every month. It's all very simple.
We make it as simple as we possibly can. And again, if that is the goal, to make a monthly contribution to some sort of investment, we absolutely can do that on a seamless, to where you don't even notice it's missing. So we make it as seamless and easy as possible.
That is awesome. And so now I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Yeah. I have been an investor for very many years. I may not feel like I am getting the most out of the person I'm currently with. I would imagine a transfer of their assets to you, that can be managed as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a big portion of our clientele right now, are our clients that haven't really felt heard by their previous advisors. And so they want a second look at their investments. And even if investments are good on paper, sometimes they aren't the right investments for that individual and their particular goals. And if there's not been an advisor that's heard what their goals are or what their end game is, then how do they know that they're investing the right way? Right. So as a fiduciary, it's my job to make sure that clients are invested in what's right for them and not what's right for me.
I love that.
And that gets missed, I think, a lot with a lot of advisors.
And so I have been taught in the past, and you can let me know if this is not the right thinking, maybe it's more of a myth, that we should spread our investments out amongst multiple investor or fiduciaries. If I have money here, I have money there. And then if there's any one problem with any one person, you don't lose all of your eggs aren't all in one basket.
So I would say you really want to make sure you're diversified across different types of investments and sectors. That doesn't necessarily mean amongst different fiduciaries, okay? Sometimes it might mean that, right? We do have that where a client may have multiple financial advisors. However, there is something to be said for consolidation. And if just a doctor, right? If you go see one doctor and he doesn't know information you've given to another doctor, they could be prescribing medication that's going to work against each other.
True.
It's the same with finances, right? If I don't know what you're discussing with another advisor or how you're invested somewhere else, I may be hurting you by investing you too heavily in one particular area or not enough.
Yeah.
So it's really important that even if you don't hold all of your eggs with one fiduciary, that we do understand where all of your investments are allocated so that we can help you in the best way.
Ooh, very good point. Hadn't really thought about that, and I know that I've not been good about that. There's something in my mind. I do like the consolidation concept because if something were to happen to my husband, or I think it would be a heck of a lot easier if everything was in one place. You can make that a very smooth process when needs be. We did that with our family trust. I was so grateful that I know that if something happens, Woodbury Law is where they're going to go and they're going to find all that information. So if I knew that all I had to say was, you just need to talk to Heather, it's all taken care of.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought that up because it's really important that I do work with a team, with my clients, with their estate attorneys, with their CPAs, because these are conversations the three of us all need to work on for the client. Especially, God forbid, should something happen to the client, that we're all on the same page.
Okay.
So when I have clients who don't have a trust set up, it's important to me that we explain the importance of that with them and get them in contact with the right estate attorney so that we are all on the same page, because legacy and estate planning is an important part of what we do.
I'm grateful to know that because there is a combination, and I'm loving that team approach.
Absolutely.
And glad that you also have that same mindset, because it isn't just you in a silo. You do need to work with multiple people that are part of their overall family plan.
Absolutely.
Great. I'm loving that. I would imagine that in your career, you have probably had an aha moment. Have you had something that stands out as an aha moment for why you do what you do?
Oh, gosh, yes. Actually, I do. I have a client who is an amazing woman, and she had an amazing career. She's in her early 80s at this point, and she did all the right things with investing, and she is now, unfortunately, wheelchair bound and unable to take care of herself fully. And her goal has always been to travel. And she had a conversation with me during one of our reviews. And she said, I have all of this money, Heather, and I can't use it because I'm in this wheelchair. And so I actually helped hook her up with a company called Wheels Around the World, where they help people who are wheelchair bound travel.
Cool.
That was something that was definitely an aha moment, right? This is why I do what I do. And this is part of why I made the career change when I did, because my mother was in a similar situation. And I watched her she passed away in 2016, and I watched her work until the day she died because she just never prepared for retirement. She didn't know how, and I didn't want to see anybody else go through that again.
That is devastating, and I have a similar story, so very grateful that you think in terms of trying to help those individuals find their best quality of life. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm so glad to know that there's an organization, Wheels Around the World.
Yeah.
I'm going to definitely check that out. What
It's
a great
pretty cool.
program.
It is.
Especially with Boulder City having such a focus on accessibility and reminding everybody that we want to invite guests and be good stewards for those that are in the disabled category, that they may not be able to navigate our curbs and gutters. They may not be able to hear or see their way through some of our crazy sidewalks. So as we're looking at that, this is such a great thing to make sure that we're paying attention to these wonderful programs. So thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
Okay, so I would imagine that you probably have also had kind of a funny moment in your life, something that stands out, that the aha makes it warm and fuzzy and you feel good about what you do. But I bet you there's been a time or two that you're like, what the heck am I doing?
Yeah, and when you start any kind of new career or new business, we all know how that goes, right?
Yes.
It's a lot of grind. And as starting with Edward Jones, when I started back in 2018, I was knocking on doors when I opened my first branch. And I wanted to get out in the community and let them know who I was and the great firm I was working for and that I was available for their needs. And the middle of summer in Las Vegas in a blazer is not a ton of fun when you're knocking on doors. And I went up to one particular door and there was a large tree in the front yard. And there must have been a nest in the tree with newly hatched eggs, I'm assuming, because the mother did not like that I was walking up. And this bird literally came down at me, like just bombarded me and literally chased me down the street. So here I was in my blazer running down this street. And actually the person that owned the home came out and saw it and had me come into the home. And that ended up being a very good client of mine, still a client of mine, and we laugh about it to this day. Yeah, that was a fun day.
Yeah, that is awesome. And so through challenge, we always find something positive on the other side. And
we do.
Yes, you even being chased by animals.
Yes, I was. A bird of all things.
I wonder what their postman does.
I know. I expected a dog, maybe, never a bird.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I love that story. And so you have referenced a couple times this being your second career.
Yeah.
What did you do before?
So I worked in the for-profit education industry. So I started out as an admissions rep for schools like DeVry, Everest, tech schools. I worked my way up to a director of admissions, and then I became a campus director. And then I was asked to take over a position where I traveled to other campuses, helping them increase their revenue. After 17 years of doing that, I was not happy with the way the industry was going ethically, and it just wasn't fitting my values. And that's when Edward Jones happened to call, because I had an Edward Jones advisor at the time.
Oh.
And she said, I think you would be great at this. You have the right background and you care about helping people, and the rest is history. I took their offer.
Yeah. That is awesome. What a great thing. I'm sorry that you were driven because of that purpose, but I would imagine somewhat you were exposed to the educational systems and probably could see that educating and teaching people how to do things the right way was something that was of your moral standard, right?
Correct.
It's kind of one of those compass items that drove you in the right direction.
And that's right. And that's what I loved about my previous position, my previous career, was helping people reach their educational goals. Unfortunately, the bottom line was becoming more important in that industry than actually educating and caring about the students. And that's when I knew it was time to make a change.
Time to go. And it's interesting how we sense those things. So it sounds to me like you knew what was happening. Okay, let's go back in history even further. What was your first job?
Oh my gosh. I sold shoes at Sears department store when I was 16 years old.
Awesome.
Yes. And I learned firsthand that customer service is key. And there's a lot of different personalities out there that you have to adapt to.
And a lot of different stinky feet.
There really are. Yeah. Started just letting them put the shoes on themselves after a while.
I understand your thought process, because I'm not sure I can. I've always admired dentists, podiatrists, people that stick their hands in their yucky mouths. As I just went to the dentist yesterday, I'm like, oh, poor dude.
I could never be a hygienist, ever.
I am grateful that other people are willing to
Same.
do it, much like yours. I do not want to have all that knowledge. You are one sharp cookie, so glad you're willing to do it. Glad they are too. I would imagine that there's probably some things that much like you had said, you want to get to know the client or the potential client. We want to get to know you. I want to ask a few questions a little bit more about you. What's something that maybe people don't know about you?
So I am incredibly outdoorsy. I'm also a certified personal trainer. I don't do it obviously for work. I just do it for a hobby, just for fun. So I am a huge summit junkie, I like to call it. So I like hiking up very high mountains. Kilimanjaro is a goal of mine. So hopefully next year. Also, big snowboarder, wake surfer here at Lake Mead. We're there quite often, wake surfing. Anything outdoors, I want to do. So I started mountain biking this last season. I'm not real great at it, but working on it.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I've competed in 4 fitness competitions, but just staying as active as I can. I'm getting old and I'm starting to feel it all a little bit, but body in motion stays in motion. So
I love that. And I'm glad that you're right in the mecca of outdoor recreation right here in Boulder City.
It's great.
We just had the groundbreaking last Thursday and that gives us the date here. So hopefully I get this edited quickly. But just last Thursday, that groundbreaking for the Boulder City Adventure Center, because we're such a mecca for all things outdoor recreation.
Absolutely.
So you live right in the right place.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it. I love it.
think that's great. I'm so glad to know that a little bit about you. There's something about, so I'm also a certified fitness instructor, teach at dance, etc. I'm very grateful for some of those experiences because number one, it forces me to try to stay within that thought process of how to pay attention to your body and all of those kinds of things, but also love and enjoy interacting with individuals. And obviously you do too. And that's why that line of hobby or work or whatever is so important to you. And making sure you're doing it the right way and teaching people the right way so it's beneficial to all.
Absolutely.
That is really cool. I'm loving that. Okay, so one of our other favorite questions is to ask, what book are you reading right now? A lot of insight comes from this. I have to share, and I share this almost every show, I love asking these really super smart, intelligent people what book they're reading, and it's like Dr. Seuss, and I'm loving that insight.
I know, it's the worst. So I am a big fan. So I will be honest, right at this moment, I am not reading one. I am incredibly busy, as you could imagine. So work's keeping me pretty busy. However, I am a big fan of Joe Dispenza. I have read quite a few of his books, and I just love the idea of the power of positivity and having that higher power that helps us through every day, and pray every morning and on my way to work. And that's just part of my routine. And I love reading, again, just anything that helps me stay positive in a world of chaos.
I love that. Yes, the power of meditation and positivity, whether it's healing your body, helping to heal others. There's just so much to that concept. And you are right in not only the chaos, but even sometimes just other people trying to bring other people down to make themselves feel better, when all they needed to do was just serve others or try to live a little bit more of a positive life.
Absolutely.
So he has a great message. I'm very grateful for his messages. So I know that you are grateful for your parents. Will you tell me a little bit about maybe something that they taught you years ago, maybe still are teaching you today, that is something that you use in your life every day?
Yeah. Again, my mother passed in 2016, but one saying she always said was, "This too shall pass." And that is a constant thing I hear in my head every time I'm having a moment or a day or the world is in upheaval, right?
Yes.
Like it is often, is this too shall pass. And it's something I actually share with my clients. There are years we have down markets. That's just the way it goes. And that is not unusual. And this too shall pass, right? And it always has, and it always will. And there's always better days ahead. So that's an important message and something that rings in my head often from what she used to say to me.
I love that. That is such great words of wisdom. And I think all of our parents have instilled in us some great things. And the idea of you can do hard things is exactly what you're talking about, right? And
Absolutely.
I know that we can all do hard things, it's just the mindset.
Absolutely.
So I would imagine that you have had probably a couple experiences with the chamber. Has there been anything that you find that really stands out that you would like to share with others? We always like to make sure that we give everybody a moment to share a little bit about their story with their chamber member investor.
Yeah, my initial office with Edward Jones was in Summerlin, and then I had an office in Henderson, and now I have this office in Boulder City. And I will say, coming to Boulder City, one of the first welcomings I had was from the chamber, and I felt immediately accepted into our big small town.
Yes,
right?
our big small town. I love that.
And when I had my ribbon cutting for my office, it was the chamber that did it for me. And I've always felt that support there. And it can be a little scary opening a new office, even if you've been with the firm for years and years. And coming to a new location, even though Henderson and Boulder City, they're not that far, but they're worlds apart all at the same time. It's having that support from the chamber made all the difference for us. And I still feel that.
I really appreciate that. I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen when I ask somebody that question and they go, actually, it was a really negative experience, because I'm sure that those are out there too. And you got learning experiences. We need to hear those too. But I really appreciate that because you've been fun to get to know. And so I would imagine that your office, you are a busy lady, you are a successful lady, but you're not too busy for new clients. Is that about right?
That is correct. I'm always happy to sit down with somebody. And again, if it's a great fit for both of us, we love our new clients.
I appreciate that. And the other thing I really appreciate is the yearly checkups. So we get that information as a client. We get that info. We have the opportunity to come in and sit down and go over things with you, have you explain things, have you help us understand what was happening with the market, where things are for us. And so I really appreciate those annual checkups.
Yeah, so we do obviously annual account reviews, but I also reach out to my clients on a quarterly basis with a phone call just to touch base, seeing how they're doing. Usually we're not making any changes unless we have something crazy going on, but it's usually just we're sticking with our strategy and just to say hi and check in. And they can come in and see me whenever they want. Clients, actually, I have some that want to see me every quarter or twice a year versus just once a year. I also do send out, and this is for people who also are not clients. If they just want to get on our email list, every single week I'm sending out market updates or market wraps, explaining in layman's terms what's going on in the market. In case you have any concerns or if you're just curious, you can certainly get on that email list, even if you're not a client, and we'll be happy to send those out to you every week.
Oh, that is so great to know.
Yeah.
That is great information. And maybe you can share with me the link to how to subscribe to that in the future, and I can post that for you.
That'd be great. Yeah.
That is awesome. I really appreciate that. I know that I am feeling so grateful for all your services, grateful that you came today, and I will hope our listeners are also grateful for this information. So thanks for being awesome. We sure appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Jill. Thank you.
Have a great day.
You as well.
This episode of the Best Damn Podcast has been a production of the Boulder City Chamber of Commerce. Please check out all the links and social media handles on our website as well at bouldercitychamber.com. You can find the Best Damn Podcast on all your favorite podcast directories. Like us and share on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until next time, discover, explore, and unwind in Boulder City.